Hello, my friends. It is Rachel from Guilty Crow Tarot, bringing you your video on how you are going to manage your anxiety this week. And I have to tell you, I have a pinched nerve in my neck, and I'm ready to claw my own shoulder off. So if I sound uh, exhausted, that would be why. So let's just jump right into this reading here, and I will spare you the details of my agony. We're going to use the Phantasma Tarot, the Dark Goddess, because I'm feeling like a dark goddess myself. I'm ready to just run away. And I love the archetype cards, so we're going to keep going with that. I'm finding that those are really hitting home for some people. They're messaging me and letting me know that, they did indeed encounter those people or become those people. So, with that being said, let's start the reading here and we'll see what we get. So the first thing that's going to bring us some anxiety this week is the Five of Cups. And I hope you can see that. These cards tend to match the background here. So with that Five of Cups, there's some sadness, some grieving going on, maybe looking at the dark side of things instead of looking at the bright side of things. If you're in that grieving process, regardless of what it is, honor that, take that time to do that, but know that, we don't want to stay there. You want to honor your grief or your sadness, and then, turn around and see that, there's three cups standing up. So I'm not sure that you can see it in this one so much, but on the regular rider weight deck, you definitely can see that all is not lost. We tend to grieve for the things that are straight in front of us, but we don't realize that there's other things coming up or in the background that we can't see. And I wish I had my other deck with me. I would show you what that one looks like. But in the other card with the three cups, standing behind them, there's things going on in the background that you're not going to be aware of. So just know that, whatever you're upset about being straight in front of your face, yes, it's going to bring you some anxiety. Yes, it's going to bring you some sadness, but know that there's other things going on with this situation that, I think are going to actually be an improvement. So all is not lost, have some hope. Now we also get the Hermit card. You're going to feel very alone this week, maybe pondering the past and, looking to the past for some answers. While I will tell you that, maybe it would be a good idea to look at the past. You can't live there. We need to live in the right now, not even, the future. Live in the right now. Try to see what you have that's going really good for you. But the feeling of desolation, of being alone, that is going to bring you some anxiety this week. Although I feel like maybe you being in that mood of sadness, maybe some people are just, the people around you are going to leave you alone to have your moment, and you'll feel that feeling. It's of being alone. But that sense of isolation probably isn't true. You might just be, removing yourself from everybody else. So, another thing that could bring you some anxiety this week is the world. So, I've been encountering so many people. I have a tendency not to look outside my bubble too much, or worry about what's going on outside my bubble. I have encountered a lot of people that are really watching everything that's going on with this world. And I have to tell you, I think our nervous systems can only take so much. So maybe be careful what you watch, or be careful what you're exposing yourself to, and, kind of bring it down a notch a little bit here, because the world is going to bring you some anxiety this week. Which, I mean, holy moly, I guess you don't really need the cards to tell you that. But this could also be something that's ending in your life. You've completed a project, completed a job, maybe you're turning 50 like I am this year. Well, I've already turned 50, but and you're looking at a different aspect of life coming up, a new thing. Endings are very difficult. And it's interesting, this world combined with the hermit here, you're ending something important to you, and you're looking back over it and analyzing it or reliving the past. Know that all is not lost again. There's always new things to be had and new times to be had and new fun, and everything comes to an end, right? So let's look at a couple things that we want to look forward to, that's going to help us move through these difficult things here. And we get death in reverse. So I like that, in the sense that, like I said, not all is lost. So with the death card being in reverse, any major changes that you were anticipating or you were worried about or freaking out about, they're not going to happen, right? And if they do happen, it's going to be a slow mo. It's going to be very gentle, very easy. It's not going to be like this major loss. We're going to be able to move through this pretty nicely. We're going to just slide right through this. So look forward to just nice, gentle changes, and just remember, everything has to change. There is no constants in this world, right? There's nothing that ever stays exactly the way, we want it to. So that's the one thing we have to really just get used to, right? That change is, God, on a minute by minute, second by second basis. You can't walk into the store and have it be the exact same walk that you walked the last time you went to the grocery. Everything's different. The people in the store are different. The products that they have are different, right? So, you're thinking that here's this repetition, and I keep doing, I do the same things over and it's comfortable. No, it's not, right? Like, we envision it that way because it's comforting to us, but everything is different, right? So, something else that should bring us comfort is the Six of Swords. Things are definitely moving, thoughts are moving, maybe not actions so much are moving, but people are shifting the way they see things, the way ideas are being presented. So be one of those people that are not so stuck in your ways that you're not able to change your thinking, or think of things in a new way. Be the person who can accept new ideas and accept new things in life and kind of go with the flow and roll with it, right? Swimming upstream is going to bring you nothing but pain. So we definitely don't want to do that, right? And I love that when I just said swimming upstream. If you look here, I don't know if you can really see it, but the water is pretty rocky, right? And we are flying right above that on our beautiful, I'm not quite sure what that is, but it's cute. These cards are definitely different. They're very cute. And I'm hoping you're able to see them, because they match the table so much. I should have probably picked a different background. But anyway, fly above that river that is just, everybody's angry, there's so much chaos. Fly above that and be able to see things in a different perspective. And another thing that you should focus on it's going to help you get out of this is the 3 cups. Go have fun. Go have some coffee with your friends. Don't talk about anything that's bothering you. Remember that the spoken word is very powerful. So we want to be careful what we put out there. When somebody asks you how you're doing, tell them everything you're grateful for. Tell them everything that's going right. Don't start that. Ugh, remember the Peanuts cartoon when that poor kid, he was always so dirty, right? I forget his name, Pigpen, or I don't know, something like that. He always had like the dirt cloud around them. I feel like that when I meet people sometimes, and they look like they just have this cloud around them because they are so stuck and they can't see through their own debris. So when somebody says, "How you doing?" Let's tell them all the good stuff that's going on, right? Remember, your spoken word is what you're manifesting as you go on. So we want to make sure that we're manifesting good stuff and that we experience good stuff. And, again, I know that we talked about being grateful and gratitude and thanking ahead of time for the things. You know what? I have to be honest, I have tried this many. I've used this. I still use this every time. How's everything going? I feel wonderful. You know, I state it and then therefore I become it, right? So talk about good stuff. Don't lead if you're out with friends, don't lead everybody down that dark pathway of hatred and hellfire and brimstone and badness and everything's terrible, right? Like, look, can we just leave that to the side just for once? A couple of outcomes that are going to come out this week. We get the Ace of Pentacles. So we got maybe some new money coming in, some new ideas starting around things that are physical, a new project, a new plan. You're going to get your hands dirty. You're going to get in there. You're going to have a good time with this. Allow that to really manifest and flow. This is something new to look forward to. We get the Wheel of Life. And this is telling you that things are going to start to shift. And I think that's awesome because we need some shifting, right? You need some perspective shifting this week because you're looking so much into the negative. So let that wheel of life flow with that wheel of life. Really embrace it, embrace the changes that are coming, be prepared. Now we also get the Ace of Wands. These are some really fiery new things coming up, passionate things. I love that she looks like a moth because I feel like we're all being birthed to a whole different, I say dimension, but I think you understand when I say dimension, I don't actually mean like you're going into the fifth dimension. I mean, if you believe that, that's cool too. God bless you. I'd like to go into a different dimension sometimes, but you're taking the wheel, you're in the lead. The aces are seeds of new things starting, really good things coming up and looking forward to. I think things are going to start going really well. Just know that these things are moving in. Let's just see what's going to take us into next week. And we get the Four of Pentacles. And so I think by the end of the week, you're going to really need to take a rest, take a relaxation, and maybe, stick to yourself. I feel like you're going to be exhausted by the end of the week and you physically are just going to need to take a rest, which is great. Nothing wrong with that. So bringing us into the next week, your brain needs a break. Your body needs a break. Take that moment. If you need some time, meditate, stay away from people, maybe on Sunday, put some nice cozy clothes on if it's nasty out and, recoup. Okay, so let's check out our Dark Goddesses deck and see what they have to tell us about our anxiety this week. This is actually one of the first times I'm using this deck, so I'm super interested to see how this goes. This is a beautiful deck. And it was a gift for Christmas from my lovely daughter, Juliet. Oh, and we get Saradwen. Transformation. And I have to say, I always think that the people who write the oracle books are way better sometimes than anything that I could ever say. So I will have to read this one to you guys. It is glorious and magical energy is swirling all around you. You are prepared for this transformation. Saradwen is here to guide you as you release the limitations of the past and step forward into this exciting new phase in your life. So that's really fun because looking back in the spread here, right? We're ending some stuff, looking back to the past, and then we're starting some new stuff. Gently starting some new stuff, but starting some new endeavors. Just the same, especially with that Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands there. It says you are coming into a truer and deeper understanding of yourself, which makes a lot of sense with that Hermit. That Hermit is all about looking to your past to understand yourself more, understand why you did the things that you did, why you do them now. What are some of your habits and where did they start? What are some of your limitations or your limiting beliefs and where did they come from? That Hermit is all about, looking at your past blueprint to see how you can change your current blueprint so that going forward with the new things, You can be smarter, better, always leveling up is really important. It also says enjoy the reward of your dedication to your growth. I totally agree. Enjoy where you are right now. Even if you're not exactly where you want to be, that doesn't matter. You are still better usually than you were before. You've learned more lessons, you're wiser. So really enjoy that part of your growth, right? So let's take a peek at these archetype cards and we will see who pops out, who you might be dealing with this week or who you might be this week. Ooh, and we get the Destroyer. And it's upright. So we're going to look at the light attributes. And it is releasing what is potentially destructive, preparing for a new life. So again, I feel like I say the meanings before the cards even pop out. Exactly what I just said, looking at who you were, who do you want to be now, going back and changing things with that transformation card here. So, you might encounter somebody who is doing this as well. Look to the people who are doing the things that you aspire to and see how they're doing things. Talk to friends. This could be like a nice girls' night where everybody gets together and does some chats about, you know, what what are my limiting beliefs? What is stopping me in life right now? What is giving me anxiety? Where am I getting stuck? And, discuss it because, even though that person might be in the same place you are in life, everybody's always struggling and they're trying to, make life better. They might have learned a lesson that you haven't, and they might have something to add about that. So I love that. Like, I might just start a little girls' club myself and do that. So definitely take a peek at that where we're going back and looking. I love that being the destroyer. And we get the rescuer, and this is in reverse. So we're going to look at those shadow attributes. And this says assumes that the rescued will reciprocate, keeps the rescued one needy. Yeah, we don't ever want to do that, especially as a healer too. Um, sometimes the people that come and rescue you, it's fulfilling their ego. A lot of people think that they know better than you do about life. You might encounter this rescuer, or be careful that you don't become the rescuer that, thinks that by doing good things, somebody's going to do good. If you're going to do something nice for somebody, do it from your heart. Don't ever expect a response. Don't expect a thank you. Don't ever expect anybody to do anything back. I don't give gifts so that I can get a thank you card. Keep that stuff in mind. I'm not on social media all that much, but I do see a lot of people telling everybody how these wonderful things that they've done and they post it on Facebook and things like that. And you got to ask yourself, like, did you do it so you could post it on Facebook, or did you do it because you're just a good person? I will have to say, not that I toot my own horn with that one, but I don't really remember the stuff I do for people. I just kind of do it. My goal on a daily basis is send me the people that I can help, and don't send me the ones that I can't do anything for. So if you cross my path, then yes, you might be one of the people that I can help. Now, one more person that we're looking at here is the rebel. But because we got it in reverse, it is the shadow attribute. And this says rejects legitimate authority out of anger, rebels out of peer pressure or fashion. So I see a lot of those people lately. Make sure that you're thinking for yourself. Make sure that you're just not following the crowd with things. And again, I'm sure I'll lose subscribers on this one, but a lot of the people that are yelling sheeple are the ones that are the sheeple. They don't free think, they don't research anything, they don't look into anything. Before you open your mouth and start spewing, maybe look up the facts first. A lot of people screaming stuff out of emotion. Not a lot of people have the facts about things. So, I know it all feels good in the moment, but it might not carry you in the future. And since we're looking at, new things coming up and how to change things, I think that that's going to be important. So, okay, guys, great reading. I hope you guys have a nice, relaxed week. I hope this reading helps. Hazel's going to pop in here for a sec. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Have a good week.